Welcome to the Diary of a Christian Single Woman, where you hear her innermost thoughts and prayers while also hearing the Lord's response in return. Sit back and relax, grab your journal and pen, pour you a cup of coffee or tea, and go on this journey to self-discovery and growth in the Lord. All right, sis, it's time to spill the tea. So I have been in a long moment of contemplating regarding how I would like to go about being in a relationship with someone. I know. You're like, what? How does that even, why are you even thinking about that? Don't you know already? But currently, we live in such a microwave, have it your way culture that the importance of patience often gets pushed into the background. And then I often hear people who are married say things like, I married my best friend, or I hear single people say, I want to marry my best friend. So then when I think about this particular concept, I asked myself the question, how do you develop a friendship with someone and grow it so deep to the point that the person becomes your best friend? So then, of course, that got me to thinking about my current best friends. When we developed our friendships, it started off with something that we had in common and that we could relate to. And then it was our personalities and how we were able to click and how we enjoyed hanging out with one another. Next, it went through something like a bit of a testing period. Like, okay, are you trustworthy? Like, how trustworthy are you? And can I share this piece of information with you without it getting out to anybody else and without you judging me, right? And then so once we passed that stage, then it was, okay, how will you show up for me when I'm going through a hard time, or will you even show up? And then lastly, it was, all right, what is your reaction when I'm winning in life? Are you supportive or are you jealous? And so for me, once I was able to see how these women showed up for me and was there for me and allowed me to truly be myself, I was able to call them my best friends. And so I realized that this is what I'm looking for in a relationship with someone on a basic level. Of course, as a potential spouse, you have to dig a lot deeper when you're looking at someone to be a potential spouse. But these particular questions here, I believe, can be the basis and are the basis of building that deep friendship with a significant other. And then so going back to what I said earlier about this being a microwave society, right? We want things done and we want it done fast. And no one really wants to wait anymore when it comes to building a friendship with the opposite sex. And so I often say that people are like, I like you, you like me, so now we go together, And I'm in quite a few singles groups on social media. And I often see men and women joke like, oh, I like you and you like me, so we getting married next week, right? We getting married tomorrow, or we meeting parents today, And I understand the joke and the sentiment, but it's like because people are so tired of being single that they're willing to just be with anyone who shows them a little interest. Then when you get together with that person, it's hell on wheels because you never got to know them first before you decided to be in a relationship with them. Now your feelings are all involved, and then if it doesn't work out, you're left with the aftermath of trying to heal. However, had you taken your time out in the beginning, you would have discovered or seen the red flags that could have warned you to stay away. Better yet, because we know this is a believer's podcast, all right? Had you taken it to God, okay, he probably would have been like, nah, baby girl, this ain't it for you before you even got into a relationship with that person. Okay, so I can hear y'all now. Okay, Lamika, what's your point? All right, my point is, it is imperative that we slow down, my sisters, when it comes to getting to know someone new. I know that it's exciting, and I know that he looks to be everything you want in a man, so you want to lock him down quickly because you don't want nobody else to get him, one. And two, it's hard out here in these streets, like I said last episode, right? So you're like, this is a good man and I want him, so let me lock him down as quick as possible. However, taking your time to really get to the core of who someone is before you jump into a relationship with them can save you a lot of heartache now and down the line. So now I'm not saying that this process should be long and drawn out, not by any means, the friendship stage. I don't think that it should be a long and drawn out process. Of course, you need to keep God first in the entire thing and let him lead you. Because the friendship stage can really last as long as you feel in your spirit that you should. If you feel comfortable with the talking stage being about a month and the dating stage, courting stage being about 2 months before engagement, then that's cool. No one is knocking that. However, I would say don't let anyone rush you into a relationship either, because of the quote unquote don't waste my time culture that we live in as well. Another story for you. I was in this situation a few years ago myself, where I really wanted to take my time to get to know this particular guy because he was interested in me to a certain extent. However, I felt that he kept trying to rush me to date him because of how much he liked me. And so in the end, it didn't work out because I was not ready to take that plunge into a relationship with him, and he wanted to move forward. And so I understand that time waits for no man, but I'm not for making a hasty decision on who to date, because I understand that that person could change the trajectory of my life if I am going to date them with the intent to marry. And so, it's not just a fly-by-night decision. I know that there are a lot of people in the world who are like, oh, I just date just to date. But then there are others of us who don't want to date just to date, but we are looking to date to settle down. We're looking to be intentional with who we are giving our time to and who we are spending our time with, And so what does building a friendship in the interest look like for me? And so when I say building friendship in the interest, I mean that, if I'm actively interested in someone, how would I go about being friends first, right? And so for me, I would be interested in someone who was willing to really take the time to get to know me and I them. We can ask the fun and the hard questions and have a good time, just genuinely digging deeper into who one another is. It would be, going out on fun dates, seeing how the person is in all of the seasons of the year. Okay. Getting to know one another's love for God, their family, their friends, their career. It would be me discovering, how does he support me? How does he encourage me? Pick me up when I'm down. It would be me seeing if I even want to do the same for him. Is it a deep desire for me to want to see him win at all costs by himself and to win with me? Does he become my confidant? And do I feel safe when divulging information to him? Does he show me respect and treat me like the strong, godly woman that I am, while also allowing me those times where I need to be soft and vulnerable and cry on his shoulder? Things like this are important for me. So, and then of course, what is important for you in building a friendship with someone with the intent to move into the dating stage may be completely different. And so here are my thoughts on how to build a friendship with someone that you're interested in. And these are just my thoughts. You can take it or leave it, but these are just some things that, in my going through these particular situations with men and discovering what's most important to me and, how should I move and shake in the dating world, I guess you could say. And so number one, listen to God, right? That's a no-brainer. Is this even a person that you should get to know on a deeper level? Like, what kind of assignment is this person to your life? Of course, upon introduction, you won't know the answer to this, but after a few conversations and maybe even a first date, second date, you should start asking the Lord what to do, because when you call on him, he will answer, right? Psalms 40 verse 1 says, I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. So if you in your prayer time, take the man before the Lord. Hey, Lord, this man has presented himself into my life. We are starting to build a camaraderie with one another. Seems like he's, interested in me, and looks like we're building a friendship. What is this assignment for me? Like, is this I can proceed to date him? Is this I'm only sent here to encourage him? Is this he's sent here to teach me a lesson? Like, what exactly are we doing here? Because you don't want to invest so much of yourself and your feelings and your emotions into someone who was only meant for you to encourage, or meant for him to encourage you in a particular area and then move on, right? Number 2, take your time. Goes without saying. Do not rush straight into a relationship just because he looks good and says all the right things on the surface. I learned this the hard way multiple times. Allow your spirit to really see if you connect with him on a deeper level. Find out if this man is really in the will of God for your life before you go further with him. Because like I just said, you don't want to invest your feelings and your emotions and your time, even your money. And next thing you know, you find out later, like, man, this really wasn't the person for me. And God showed me all the signs, and I just rushed head first because I thought he was great. And now here I am trying to pick up the pieces, right? You want to make sure you take your time. Okay. Hebrews 10:36 says, for you have need of patience, that after you have done the will of God, you might receive the promise. So take your time. Don't rush. Have patience. And when you do what God is telling you to do, when you do point 1, which is listen to him, then you'll receive the promise of what you have been waiting for, right? Number 3, ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to ask about the things that are important for you to have in someone. Address your deal breakers and your non-negotiables and see what the response is. If the response is something that you know in your knower of knowing that you don't want to deal with, do not settle. Okay? Because oftentimes we as women will say, well, I really don't like this, but maybe it won't be that bad once he gets with me. Then you get into something and you find out that it's actually much worse than what you thought. Or you may set out to try to change him, and then you find out quickly that doesn't work either, right? So follow your instincts and trust Holy Spirit on the inside of you to lead you, because he will tell you of things that may happen if you just listen to him. All right. So John 16:13 says, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. So when you allow the Spirit of truth in your life, he will lead you, he will guide you into all truths, and he will show you things to come if you what? Do point number 1 and ask him. Then number 2, take your time. Then number 3, ask the person of interest some hard questions. All right. Then number 4, spend time with one another, because how else are you going to know if you don't spend that time, right? Spend concentrated time with one another, doing things that you both enjoy, to really see how they are in different environments and in different scenarios. Don't rush so quickly and think that after 3 dates, you know who they are. Because do you really? That would be a no, right? So spend some quality time and some concentrated time with one another, doing things that you both like, you both enjoy, that just allow you to really explore your personalities, explore how you are together, and how you spend your time together. Do you enjoy spending time with them, or does it feel like a chore? Things like that. So Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, 4:9 to 10a really says, two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. And so, yes, as a single woman, you should spend time with yourself first and foremost. Okay, get yourself together. But if you desire a relationship, then spending time with the person you are interested in will let you know if he will lift you up, like the scripture says. Okay, so last point, number 5, keep your boundaries. All right, I know it's hard when you like someone and you're interested in someone to not cross physical boundaries, but set them in your heart and be determined in your heart and your mind to keep them. How do you do this? Don't put yourself in situations where you can break them, sis. Like, sometimes you wonder why you fall, and it's like, oh, but you decided to have a Netflix and chill night at the house, and you already know you're hot and bothered, and now he look at you a certain way and you ready to go. Like, no. Make sure that you don't put yourself in situations where you can break the boundaries that you have set for yourself. A woman should look for a man, really, who wants to protect his and her purity. And, it's not to say that this is all on the man, because I am not putting this all on him at all. But as the one who should be leading the relationship, this is an important trait for him to have, And then also keep your personal boundaries as well. If you are uncomfortable with something, speak up immediately. The right person for you will respect these boundaries and will not willingly try to make you go against them. Because there are men out there who going to be like, okay, I know she says she don't want to do this, but let me try her and see. Okay, ain't no trying over here, player. I said what I said. All right. So make sure that you keep them and don't be with somebody that is going to try to help you break them. Okay. Proverbs 25:17 says, let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have his fill of you and hate you. Okay. So this verse clearly outlines a boundary about not just showing up at your neighbor's house whenever you want, right? Because eventually they gonna dislike you and be like, that's the nosy neighbor across the street, right? The same goes for dating. When you set a boundary with a significant other or a potential significant other, don't waver on it, or else you will become dissatisfied. It will cause issues, and one, if not both of y'all, gonna have to roll out. All right. So those are my 5 points on how to build interest in a friendship. Okay. So now, after you have taken your time to do all of this, because remember, it doesn't have to be a long time at all to do any of this, okay? And if you feel the peace of God to move on to exclusively dating this person, then by all means, enjoy your relationship, sis. Because my desire is to see single women all around the world win in love and in relationships, and especially Christian single women, because it can be a little harder for us, but we don't need to do it at lightning speed. Like, we can win at love and relationships, but we don't have to be the Flash in order to do it. Okay. Like, it is okay to really take time to trust in God, to trust in the process. God will work it out all in due time, and may his will always be done in our lives. He will set the man that he has for you right in your face. However, it is up to you to discern the time and the season of your life, and then how to best move forward when this does happen. So I hope this was helpful, my sisters, and I look forward to hearing the wonderful testimonies of God's goodness in your love lives. So thank you for listening to the Confessions of a Christian Single Woman podcast. Remember, ladies, that God loves you immensely. There are no bounds or restrictions to his love. Always seek his face, hear his voice, and live his word out loud. If you have any questions that you would like to hear addressed on the podcast, you can email at diary@confessionsofaChristianSingleWoman.com or follow and DM us on the Confessions of a Christian Single Woman Facebook page, okay? And then also, let's continue the discussion on Facebook Live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join me. Until then, may the peace of the Lord go with you this week.